And you are Allison Shore, correct?
I am, and you are Jamie.
Jamie Jackson, Vice President for Programming on the record. Okay, so I guess we should start. Obviously, I just called you in to talk about the casino program and how it's going to go forward. How do you feel about the casino program right now? Like what?
Well, I wanted to thank you for calling me in,
Okay.
first of all, because I feel like I've kind of been walking around a little bit in the dark since we got the comments and everything.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy for this opportunity. I put a lot of effort into the software. I did a lot of research, and I think that I may have devalued some of my other programmer counterparts, some of their input because of some of the input that they did give me. But with that being said, I think that there is room for growth in the software. I would like to have some direction in where that growth is going to go, so that we can get a product that can go to market and everybody's happy with.
And how do you feel about? I mean, because you're used to programming games better for like children, and the genre is a different target audience than an adult audience. And I'm pretty sure this is your first programming, because you're the program manager and you're spearheading this team for this game. And this is your first time managing a game or an app that's targeted towards adults, correct?
Sure.
Yeah.
So this has been the first opportunity that I've received to get on an adult game, and I was really excited about it. And I agree I understand that it's very different than from doing games for children or learning experiences.
Well, I mean, anything different is going to be harder just because you've never done it before.
Sure.
So, and I guess before we really get into like the specifics of the game, I just want to talk about like the office morale. Like, how do you feel? And everything that's said in here is obviously confidential. How do you feel about your coworkers, your colleagues? I mean, do you feel that they respect you? Do you feel that they don't respect you? Like, where are you at like mentally with your colleagues, like as of right now?
So I think that one of the things I did some reflection with my own, my role in all of this before coming into this meeting. And I think that I have allowed some things to kind of fester over the past, period of time prior to actually casino happening.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's an environment, as you know, very heavily populated by males, which I'm, totally fine with working in that environment. I feel that maybe I should have come forward sooner with some minor issues that had occurred along the way.
Yeah. And when you say minor issues, I mean, you can express yourself if you want. What do you, like specifically, are you talking about instances with people that have said certain things, or is it just like generalized talk and rumor that is going on but you don't hear quite specifics?
I'm kind of feeling like, that I had heard different things about salaries, and that's always a hard topic to broach.
Well,
but
we can talk about how do you feel about your salary?
I think that my salary is competitive. However, I do feel that when I hear, rumors that other counterparts of mine who are, male are making, more money than me for doing a similar job, that does make me feel like I'm devalued somewhat because of me being a woman. And I think, there's been other incidences of being left out of social outings, even though I've expressed interest in going along. And those are things that you really can't, I'm not going to sit here and whine about it because I
just wanted to understand how you feel about the situation. The current pay that you're making is $47,000 a year, correct?
Correct.
And you've been with this company for 4 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so obviously salary is something that we're going to need to discuss in this negotiation, and I think that that's something we should, when I say put on the back burner, I don't mean put on the back burner because it's not important. I think that we should say that towards the end of the negotiation itself. That's something we can address.
I think so. I think I want to be happy with my job,
Yes.
and I think it's first we need to get to a point of, with the game and your expectations of me.
Yeah.
And then I guess we could kind of talk of,
Okay. Well, you're obviously the newest program manager we have.
Okay.
And it's a good thing. I don't want you to, obviously this kind of ties into salary. I don't want you to feel like we devalue you because you're a woman. We offered you the position because we thought that diversity would bring a better outlook over the games themselves and the programs, which is great. I just want to know how this game Casino. Do you like working on this project? Because I know we gave it to you because we wanted something innovative, and I know it's different. But how do you feel working on this project as a manager compared to working on your own project when you were a program?
So I'm really enjoying that
Yeah.
part, and I think it was stressful with the team, and I put a lot of pressure on myself because it is my first adult game,
Yeah.
and I really wanted it to work. And I also feel that when I was assigned to Casino,
Yeah.
that I had heard a lot of chatter, which is one of the things oh, she
Mhm.
doesn't know about gambling. She doesn't.
Yeah.
So I felt lots of pressure that way to make it work, and that's why I did lots of research. I was trying to figure out what Vegas was really like right now, what direction they were going, and so that's how I felt that I would move forward.
Mhm.
I like my role. I want more adult games. That's why I want to see how we can make
Okay.
this actual game work for everybody.
Absolutely, and obviously, getting a promotion and being a program manager is a different task than just being a programmer. I mean, you understand that, and I'm aware you understand that. But the point I'm making is how do you feel about possibly collaborating with another manager on this project? Is that something you're against? Do you want to take this yourself? What's your opinion on working with I don't want to say experienced because you are experienced, but our most senior experienced manager on Casino? Would that be something you're interested in possibly?
Yeah, and
Maybe.
I think
Yeah.
that actually when I came, when I was reflecting on how this
Yeah.
could work out, is that I think that's probably one of the best steps forward for me.
Yeah.
If you are seeing me having a future here,
Mhm.
and I knowing that I want to do more adult games, that we take this as a learning opportunity
Yes.
and move forward, and also understanding that I know that I have a lot to learn about it. So I would be very open to that.
Okay.
Um,
That's great to hear. We're just discussing things, so
Mhm.
that's good. And there was a few things. Obviously, there. I mean, I think you understand, and I understand that there had been, you know, some tension
Mhm.
between, and this could stem from you being a very our youngest program manager, but rejecting other people's ideas, and then but on the flip side, they also said some things about the game itself on the prototype that were also not very nice, which I will address with them in my
Sure.
office at a later time. But the point I'm making is like when you're in this office, I want you to feel like you can be yourself.
Mhm.
And I understand that being a program manager is you have subordinates. That's the reality of it, correct?
Sure.
And I don't think that the way you dress at the office is a problem. I know someone had said some things about you dress very nice, and it's almost like you're feeling superior to them. It doesn't mind me at all. However, I don't think that's an issue for anything. I think that where the tension's coming from is just trying to collaborate with other people on these games. So, as a program manager, do you feel like from the process when you started Casino up until now that you have done the best to be open to what your colleagues have told you?
No, I would say I think again, in thinking back about the process,
Yeah.
I think that those are some areas where, while I think that some of the stuff that was said was inappropriate, I also think that the way I approached it, I ended up isolating myself more as a woman and
Yeah.
as a manager. And, in hindsight, I would like to be able to rework those relationships and be open to, not automatically thinking that the guy is
Yeah.
making the comment because he's a guy
Mhm.
versus just me understanding I need to put myself in this situation as a
Yeah.
person and not.
Well, I mean, I think it's very natural to be promoted to a higher position, a more corporate position. and managing programmers and finding your groove takes some time. It's not easy, because when you're a programmer, you had all this leeway, and you were designing the games, right?
Sure.
So when you are heading it, and you see something that you might not think is correct, your natural tendency is going to be to want to control it, and that's normal. I just want to get to a point where, what do you think is the best way to go about building this casino game? Do you think that when you collab with another senior manager, how do you want? What's the role of your team? Is what I'm asking. What do you want your team to do, and what do you want to do? If you have any opinion on that. If not, that's totally fine. It's a loaded question.
I'm thinking that potentially that we kind of regroup and brainstorm about what were the good. Because I do feel like, when I got that feedback, it was all pretty much negative, and which is totally I'm cool with
that.
That
may not have stemmed from just the game itself, as we discussed earlier. So I don't want you to think that you can't create a good game, because I know you can create a good game. So
I'm thinking if we can make it a more collaborative environment with the team, and that I seriously, maybe if they're going to make suggestions about the real Vegas and everything, maybe we're talking about it, and maybe it's not just coming from a place of, so if they really think that we need waitresses dressed a certain way, then maybe there's not proof, but so it's stemming from more of a place than just because that's what they would like to see, and more because I did a lot of market research and everything, and maybe I can explain that to them, and maybe we can then just move forward fresh from there, and understanding that I do value their opinions, and I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are wanting to play the game that are, probably similar to the people making the game. However, I would say this too, is that I'd like to know, again, and it goes back to expectations, who are we marketing this to? And what is the goal? Is it just, what age range, what demographic? Because I think I had, that was, when I did the research, it was, we need to make money, and this is the direction that Vegas is going in, so it made sense to me. But,
what do you think the target audience is for the casino game? Do you think it is single men, or do you think it's something else?
Well, there's lots of people now on the internet playing games. I don't think that that's our own. I think we're limiting ourselves if we think that's our only market. However, I do know that there is this, even with other demographics, that they probably have an expectation of what Vegas is like. So I do agree that I may have missed the mark there with not listening to some of the programmers more, or not hearing what they had to say a little bit more.
On the flip side, you might be able to make a game that markets to single men and also younger ages too.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving forward with this, after I just want to pose a hypothetical. After a casino's done and it sells, and let's just say it sells really well.
Okay.
I expect it to. I think it will. Where would you want to go? Would you want to stay in a more of an adult genre, programming, in a program manager for adult genres, or would you want to go back and more focus on more family stuff, the stuff that you're more familiar with? Where are you at with that?
So I see it as a growth opportunity for me. I would like to move up or continue on with another adult game. As you know, that's kind of like, if you're a good programmer or one of the more elite ones, those are the projects you're getting. Again, that's why I felt so much pressure with casino. So my hope is that, and that's why I'm open to a lot of things, because I do want to make that growth and move that direction.
What do you think about possibly collaborating? Anytime, this is just a suggestion, and I want to get your input. And if you don't like it, you just say no. I think that's stupid. That's totally fine.
Okay.
But what do you think about possibly working with Scott, who's been with the company for 8 years?
Okay.
He's our senior most manager. He deals strictly with pretty much, I don't want to say morbid, but very violent games. The ones that we in Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Galactic Carnage. He does those types of games. I guess you could characterize them as they were characterized as high testosterone war games. What do you think about possibly working with him on casino, and then maybe just collabing with another manager for the first year?
Okay.
And then maybe if you wait after casino on the second project, if that's within the first year, then you would collab with another senior manager and then be on your own doing that. Like, what do you think about that?
I think that so as long as we have a plan in place, that it is like you and I are going to sit down a year from now and see growth wise if you feel like I've developed some of the management skills and I have a better understanding of the adult games and that makes sense for me to move forward. I think that's a good plan. I think if it's like just ongoing, like, oh, we're going to stick her with some senior manager because we don't want to lose her, but
you want a definite.
Yeah.
I mean, because the goal eventually is to have you being a program manager to do all types of games.
Okay.
I think that's the best thing, but I do think that possibly collaborating with a senior manager for the first two projects that are a different target audience than children and families is important, because I think that's an opportunity for growth for you as a whole. And obviously, if that's something that you would be willing to do, and I think that would be great, we can also talk about, salary increases with that too. So what I think is, well, let's start with this just so we get some definite things down. Would you be okay with collaborating with Scott for this casino project?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then not quite sure. We can talk about the terms of that. Collaborating with Scott.
I guess when I'm hopeful that maybe we could have a discin, the three of us with Scott. Just to be clear on that, it is collaboration and not.
Him just spearheading, telling you.
Yeah.
Discuss with Scott and Allison. Because this project was offered to you, and I gave it to you because I thought that would be a good idea. I still think it is a good idea. I think it's great, and it's gonna be great growth for you. So the goal is to help you grow and learn how to manage a team under this type of target audience program.
Okay.
So when I say collaboration, it's gonna be him sort of helping you out, but not calling the shots. It's still your team.
Okay.
So
that sounds
program
great.
manager. So and then maybe also another big bold thing we could talk about is collaborating maybe with another senior member for one more project that's an adult audience, and then after that you're calling the shots. I think 2 would be enough. Personally, I think that. How do you feel about that?
No, I think that's a good opportunity because I feel like with casino, Scott and I are gonna figure this out and collaborate, and then I'll have one project where I've kind of seen it full circle, and then I feel like the second project will be my opportunity to kind of do over again, even but still having that support with another senior manager.
And the second project, let's just say you do it with Otto. Okay, he's been here for 7 years. In this one, I want you and Scott to be running the team together. But the second project could be more of Otto could be like a consultant for you, where the team doesn't really know that Otto's in on it, but he's just on behind the scenes, and you're going to pitch your ideas and how you want to run this, and you guys can converse and talk about what the best methods are to go about, and then you're going to be running the show with your team. I think because it's kind of like just taking off the training wheels. It's first you put you on the bike, then you run, you get the training wheels, and then we'll break it off. So that way you would have even more of a presence on your team in the second project. So is there, before we get to salary, do you have anything else about either of these two or anything in particular that you wanted to bring up in this meeting that's bothering you, or anything that?
Well, I think, we kind of talked about it, and I don't want to harp on it, but I think we kind of talked about what I kind of felt as growing discrimination, even though, to me being a female, and it's just, I don't really, again, the more I reflect on it, while I don't want to be in a hostile work environment, I also, I'm wondering if I isolated myself and how we move forward from that. I mean, from both sides of things. I think that they're, again, I can't force people to be friends with me outside of work, but, but within work, I want to feel like I'm part of the group. And, I don't, I'm always open to suggestions. And I'm hoping that maybe this collaboration, if they start seeing that I'm open to their ideas, that maybe that'll resolve a little bit of it.
I think that's a good point, because I think that the way the best programs are made is when the team is all on the same page and working together. There's no animosity, there's no tension. What do you think about possibly maybe doing like a conduct in the workplace, training session with everyone? How programming managers should treat their team and how the team should treat the programming managers. Is that something you'd be interested in? Possibly doing like a third party
Sure.
type thing.
If
you don't think that's going to solve the issue, tell me right now, because we won't do it if that's the case.
I'm fearful that it's going to cause more isolation, because everybody's going to know that it was me that called it out, and so I guess I'm looking for
I'll just blame it on the news right now.
maybe a little bit more subtle approaches, and know that I'm going to put my best foot forward and trying to integrate myself more, and maybe we decide, or I feel more comfortable having an open dialogue with you about if I'm starting to see this stuff again, or if I'm feeling that way again. Because again, I don't know if I became overly sensitive to it, because this whole thing with casino kind of peaked, and then I wasn't hearing anything from you, so I felt very isolated. So maybe that's the approach.
That's understandable. Like I said, we can do it in a more subtle fashion, where I can have direct conversation with people. Obviously, it's going to be regarding this situation, because that's what's going on. If the third party thing is a little too over the top, I totally understand that. Then we won't do that. Maybe I can just bring them in and say, hey, look, this is how. Maybe I can just tell them, hey, look, you need to be treating her this way. She's going to treat you this way. And because what I think it was just an entire miscommunication. I think that you were running being a program manager as more of a programmer, but that's everybody when they start this job. Everyone does that. You're not going to be Superman overnight when you get your new job. So I think you're doing fine in what you're doing, and I think that collaborating is going to be a good thing for you. And I think so. As far as the third thing we can jot down would be, I can talk with the other people who give their feedback personally. Let them know that this isn't the type of behavior that's going to be going on in this office, and if this continues, then we can address that at a later date. So speak.
And I guess the last thing I would say, just because we are kind of on all of this collaboration and everything, whoever is going to take the family games on or the children's games, if you ever need me to play a role of kind of the reverse of collaborating with them, so that whoever's taking it over, if they need more support in that area, I'm always open to that as well, because I do feel like I want to move forward, but I also understand that there's, I have a wealth of knowledge in that area, and I'd be willing to share it.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I think that when I was looking at the program revenue numbers, obviously, just based off statistics alone, yours were the lowest. However, the games that are marketed towards the non-families actually they do. So there's a reason for that, and I know it's not because you're not doing a good job, because your family is extremely successful. So, you want to address the salary?
Sure.
Okay, so before you walked in the store, I'm sure you've played this. I called you in here. I'm sure you were like, okay, well, I know what we're going to talk about. What did you imagine would happen salary-wise, or what would you want, or did you want, or do you want to happen, when you walk out that door? How do you feel about We
So-
can have an open discussion about it.
Okay, I guess at first I realize I'm not going to walk out of this door making 54,000 today, and I'm okay with that. But I had the question, and I'm not even sure if you can, I guess answer the question is, I realize that I'm the newest, I have the least amount of experience, but when other program managers are being moved up, like at my stage, were they, what were they moved up to? Were they moved up directly to the 54, or,
I see what you're saying. Well, when they moved up, they started at 49, and then they continued to move up. It was an increase year after year. So, what do you think about, bumping your salary up from 47 to 49, like right now?
okay,
And then putting it at where they were at, and then incrementally over the next, or each year is what it would be. They don't give me the number on what it is.
okay,
They just say they started at 49. So I'm going to be willing to bump it up to 49, and if you look at Scott's salary, Eric's salary, he's been there for 5.5 years. He's at 54, so we could create like an even baseline increase to get to 54 after 5.5.
So my only, I guess I'm glad that you're willing to help me get my salary up a little bit. I'm just wondering if we could get a little bit, because that was 5 years ago too, that he got started at 49. And I feel like I shouldn't be asking to start at the same point that these guys started at. So if we could, based on the fact that it was several years ago they were at 49, if I could start at 51, and then knowing that over the next couple of years, because over the next couple of years, they're going to be, their salaries are going to continue to, I'm always going to be trying to catch up to them. And which, I get to some degree, but, so that's what I was kind of hoping is then that over the next couple of years we can have increases and have meetings like this to talk about my, progress or lack of progress,
Okay, well, and this is, we're in, just like off the record question,
Okay.
we're in real time. So when you said, once it says like you're in 4 years, does that mean that is it like you've been for 4 years and now we're having this meeting? Is that what I think so, right?
Is it? Okay.
I just want to clear it up. That's what I was saying, off the record question. Like, I'm like asking not you as a client, like you, I'm asking you as like my classmate. Because I just want to make sure that
I
that's
joined
what it
the
is.
company 3 years ago as a part-time programmer.
And then you've been in a manager position for
The last year.
just 1 year, right?
Yeah.
And then Scott hasn't been like a manager for 8 years. He was a programmer and then a manager for like 5.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. So I just wanted to make that. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
Okay.
So I don't get like chewed up by the teacher if I do something stupid.
I think you might have a little more. You have a lot more numbers.
Yeah, I think so too. Here's the thing. So, right, you want to bump it up. Well, okay, so you said 51, like, right? You want a 51 right now.
Yeah.
Okay, and you want it to be on an equal level of increase as everyone else, because obviously, since Miguel and Eric have been here for 5 years and 5.5, you've been here for 4. How do you? It's not like your salary would ever be equivalent.
Sure.
Right?
No,
Because it's going to increase as yours is going to increase, but you just want.
I'd like to close the discrepancy up a little bit. So
Okay.
I guess with them you said they've been here for 5.5 years,
Yeah.
and I've been here for 4.
I think it's just their years minus 3. So you've been a manager for 1, they've been a manager for 2, 2.5. Dennis would be 3 years. I think it's just that you're programming for 3 years and then you move into
Okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
So I've already been in the management role for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And they, were making, I guess my understanding, they were making 49 when they got.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I'm
Okay.
kind of saying.
No, I see what you're saying. So because it's been at 47 and has an increase where it should sort of 49
Nine,
increase.
yeah.
You want it to go up to 51. Okay, we can accommodate $51,000 a year salary. This is what I think. I think that I guess it's not really okay. Well, how do you feel about this? And I'm just throwing this out there. This doesn't have to be anything you want to address, but what do you think about the timing of this salary? Do you want this to walk out the door with 51, or do you want to finish the casino game and then move to 51?
Ideally, I feel like I walk out with it only because, again, I feel like I should have been starting, like, with them or, a number closer to them. And I feel, even though I've, definitely addressed that I have had some little bumps in the road with how I managed it, I've worked really hard on it, and I will give you, I'll continue that work. So it's just figuring out some stuff.
Yeah, and do you know, because I don't even know this, but do you know if your, I guess you could say subordinates, your team, and also your colleagues and your co-employees, do they know what you make?
No, I've never shared that information. I think they said, I learned, I found this out, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I learned it from some secretaries and stuff, but I wouldn't, they may know that I make less because I might have looked shocked, but I didn't share it.
Okay, yeah, no, that's understandable. Okay, so, and I just want to ask like a few more supplemental questions. Do you feel that because your salary is lower than everyone else's and it was lower than what Eric and Miguel's and Dennis, that their salaries were when they started, that do you think that's a catalyst for the tension that's being causing how you feel in the workplace? Does it bother you?
I think that it added to like kind of the other discrimination stuff I kind of talked about, or like the random comments, and I think that's kind of what I said at the beginning. Like, I recognize I should have said something to you sooner because I let it like kind of get farther. So I think I do think that it's just kind of on top of one another. So but I don't want to allow it to, drive the situation, I guess.
Okay, no, that's fine. And the other thing I want to address too, let's put the salary in. So salary to 51,000 for the following year, and then the increments will go along with everyone else's. I just want to talk about, because I heard that you had went to a marketing department to research trends in the gambling industry. I think that was a great idea. I think that was smart. However, there was some backlash about it. I was called by the marketing, the vice president of marketing. He was not happy about the call just because they're crammed, and I usually have to call them myself. So it's more of like a corporate thing. So just in the future, if you want to call other departments to get information, you should have to clear with me first. Which isn't a big thing. I think that it was a smart decision to find trends in the gambling industry, because if you find those out, you can market the game better.
Sure.
Just have to clear it through me first, and then it will no longer be an issue. That way I can give them a heads up that you're going to be using up some of their time. I know they're crammed and stuff like that, even though that is their job. So, I think that pretty much covers. And it's not like you don't have the authority to do it. It's just that sometimes when that happens, I just get an unpleasant phone call, which kind of sucks. But it's not. This isn't like this isn't me chewing you out by any means. It's like I like where your head's at with going and doing that. We just gotta just let me know first.
Okay.
I think that that's something you should continue to look at is trends in certain areas. So
Okay.
I don't know if do you have anything else?
I think the last I guess the last item that I feel like we should just I guess we've touched on a little bit, but like, do you have any recommendations in situations where, like the programmers, for example, I had the one programmer tell me that, or give me ideas about this when we were doing this geographic one, and he wanted the cartoon to be topless, and I tried to explain to him that doesn't necessarily, I didn't think that was going to be a good idea for the game, and that it might generate some negative publicity for us, even though I understand that that's how it accurately is portrayed in certain parts of the country. But and I think that was one of those situations where I did end up pulling rank and just saying like, no, we can't do that, even though I'd already tried to explain why we couldn't do it, and that then makes me look like a poor manager because like what you were kind of talking about with me just saying like, well, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
So how would you? I mean, do you have any recommendations of how to approach that?
Well, I mean, when there's obviously inherent disagreement between the program manager and the programmer, that's always going to happen. Issues are bound to pop up. But I do think that the programmers should be given a little bit of leeway to do what they want, but it doesn't mean you can't step in. I don't know if flat out saying no, we're not doing this is the best thing.
Okay.
But maybe an alternative method, maybe presenting alternative methods, and if it still is an issue, I think that's something that you and Scott can talk about and build through. But ideally, it's good to have the programmers have some leeway, but maybe approach it in a way of more of a constructive criticism, rather than saying no, like this is going to be this, or like this is why, like you can't do this. That's a bad idea. Your work sucks. Like that's not.
Yeah, and
I don't want to go about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tried to avoid that kind of, but it was just an uncomfortable conversation about like trying to explain why I didn't think a topless cartoon was necessarily the route. And but I think I understand what you're saying, and I do think in that case, Scott will be. I mean, hopefully, I'll get a little bit of mentoring in those situations.
I think all these issues are going to be contingent on how well you respond to working with the other programmers and how well you're going to grow. Obviously, if there's continued tension, we can address it at that time. But I think that this is going to be the best route. Was there any other topics or issues?
No, I think that does it. I think that overall, I feel just having been able to sit down with you and know that you do value my work and that you do want me here gives me more self-confidence in my role, and I can move forward, I think, in a more positive way.
Okay, great, yeah. And that goes up, I think we have the 5 things of collaborating with Scott on the project, and then another collaboration on the second one, which caters to an adult audience, although you're going to have more discretion and autonomy, I think, in that one.
Okay.
And then we'll give you the third one we want to keep working on. Obviously, we still want you to keep working on and heading children's stuff.
Sure.
Is that something you're still interested in keeping and doing? Obviously, we want to help you grow and to do it all, but we still want you to do projects for that also.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with it. As long as we know that we have a path with growth for myself, and I've established my goals with you, I have no problems assisting on the other stuff.
Well, and I think the salary increase comes with targeting adult audience for programs because that's where the majority of our revenue as business is going to come from. And salary is not only based off experience, it's also based off value, which your program revenue is going to increase when you start doing the adult stuff. So we have those two. I'll speak with the comments that were made regarding the prototype of the game. I can address that personally. And like I said, I don't think that's going to be an issue. 'Cause I think that was just that just came from the tension that had happened. I don't think it's really what they thought. Maybe it was in part that, but I can adjust that privately. If it continues to be a problem, you can come.
Okay.
And then we have the salary to 51, which is what Eric and Miguel were making at 4 years, and then the contacting before you contact other divisions. I think those are the 5
Okay.
things we have. I have nothing else.
I
So-
don't.
Okay, great. Very good. Okay, sweet.